Hello, my name is Kayla Maxiel. I am an English 102. Today we'll be talking about social activism in the form of rhetoric in David Crownson's comic series, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. Take 6. I'm just going to go ahead and say that David Crownson, you are absolutely my favorite guest speaker that we've had in this class and probably will have for the rest of the course. You are very, very fun and easy to talk to. I'm your number one fan now. And you were just very charismatic, hilarious, open for communication, and encouraged us to have like this important dialogue, but in a fun way. So thank you for that. The text that we were focused on in our discussion was his comic series called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. Okay, guys, just from the name, you should know that this is a work of art. It's going to be interesting. It's kind of like, what? Harriet Tubman, a demon slayer? With that being said, I guess I can safely say I went ahead and bought all of the comics. Since this is a reflection and not an explanation, I'm just going to tell you everything that I think the work stands for in relation to social activism instead of explaining to you the novel, the comics. It's not a novel, is it a novel? It's a work of literature. To lay down the stage, I'm going to start with interpreting the historical context and exegetes. David Crownson takes a strong female figurehead of African American history and gives her the spotlight in a science fiction setting that truly puts her strengths on display. In science fiction, African Americans are hardly ever given leads, especially African American female leads. So this was very exciting for me, and I'm sure it was very exciting for other audience members. I think that this comic shows her fighting her own demons, because she is fighting actual demons, but it personifies her battle as a Black female in this time period. I think that the exigence comes into play here because it displays her as the victor instead of the victim to a broken system. Because the medium is a comic, this is put on full display. We're able to use our own shared learning experience about Harriet Tubman, and we're given these beautifully crafted images and text boxes, and it provides an educational experience for us. We're putting together our shared knowledge and what we already know about Harriet Tubman in the form of this work of science fiction, and we're forced to compare and contrast and question and think creatively. So that's what makes it all the more fun, because I mean, who doesn't want to learn about boss women in history in the form of them kicking racist demon butt? I think that deserves a round of applause, honestly. Anyways, getting back to it, even though that is David Crownson's personal exigence, I liked how he worded what Harriet's exigence might be. He basically said that you don't need a reason to do the right thing. You just do it. Secondly, one thing that is highly distributed throughout this comic series is rhetorical canons of style, arrangement, and delivery. Mr. Crownson uses these to draw in his audience and encourages them to compose exciting and boundary-breaking communication. He builds up his ethos by using real events and people to depict this work of history through a new and fun fictional perspective. Going off of ethos more, this is unrelated, but I think that having Barack Obama follow you on Twitter is the strongest ethos that a person can have. So, next, reflecting back on our talk with him, the Kairos is what I personally think is the most important. When I asked him about representation in comic books and implied that he was pushing boundaries, he agreed that it's only recently that we're getting representation in Marvel and in DC Comics. I mean, if you were to ask a stranger on the street, they would tell you the only Black superhero that they could probably name is Black Panther. So I think that it's exciting that he revealed that all of his upcoming comics have not only African American or POC leads, but female leads as well. In a time period where African Americans and Asians and several other people of color are being criticized, ridiculed, persecuted, and killed for being who they are, I'd like to think of this comic as a beacon of hope, a bright light of where we came from and the strength that all of us contain. With that being said, that's exactly how he applied pathos in his work. He plays with our emotions as audience members by influencing our capacity to believe or act in a certain way. In this case, it is to be the strong female lead, to be who we see Harriet being in this comic series. It's to stand up and stand out like Harriet did, and kicking nonsense to the curb, one racist demon at a time. I believe that as a rhetorical situation and an act of rhetorical activism, it does just that. It inspires, it represents, and it encourages us all to be bold in our actions. That's the strongest power that any of us can obtain. And I know that's cheesy, with great power comes great responsibility, but Stanley was on to something, and I say that he's right, and so is David Crownson. So thank you for watching, and thank you for coming and speaking to us.